All right, so this is another video explaining problems for area of composite figures using formulas that we've already learned in this unit. So the hot tub that Tariq designed that I see in front of me, it looks like we've got a square. There's my square. And we have in the center a circle. So if we go ahead, we can say the area formula for a square is just to multiply the side lengths. So you can think of that as length times width, or you can think of that as side length times itself. And then the area formula for a circle is pi r squared. So it's helpful to have all your area formulas written down so that you can use them as you are dividing your shape up into pieces and calculating the area. So let's read this question carefully. The diameter of the hot tub is 3 meters. Diameter is the distance across. If we know the diameter is equal to 3, then the radius is equal to half of the diameter. So the radius is equal to 1.5. So we can label the radius R 1.5. What is the area of the deck that surrounds the hot tub? All right, so we need to be very careful with what are they asking me to find. So in this problem, what is the area of the deck that surrounds the hot tub? So they only want the deck that surrounds, that goes around the hot tub. So I'm going to have to find the area of the square, and the area of the square is 5 times 5, or 25 meters squared, and that would represent all of it. The area of the square would be all of that. We want to take out just the area of the circle. So if we take out the area of the circle from the area of the square, then we would be left with the leftover deck that's around the outside. So we're going to take away the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. They said to use 3.14. We can use 3.14 for pi times 1.5 squared. Be sure you do exponents first. 1.5 squared is 2.25. 2.25 times 3.14 is 7.065. So again, we're taking that out of the area of the square. So when I subtract 7.065 from 25, I get the area of 17.935 meters squared. If necessary, round to the nearest tenth. If we're rounding to the nearest tenth, that means we want 1 decimal place. So we only want 1 decimal place to the right of the decimal. Look to the right. If it's 5 or more, this would go up. If it's not 5 or more, it stays the same. So my answer would be the area is approximately 17.9 meters squared. Okay, let's do another example that involves triangles. So the area of this shaded part of the circle that has a diameter of 8 millimeters. So this is another problem that involves me finding just the shaded part. And if you'll notice, the shaded part is all of the circle except the triangle. So we want the area of all of the circle, except we're going to take out the area of the triangle. So circle is pi r squared. triangle area is 1/2 base times height. So to find the area of the circle, if the diameter is 8, then the radius is 4. So we would have the area of the circle is pi times 4 squared, 3.14 times 16, which is 50.24 millimeters squared. So that's the area of the circle. Now we're going to subtract from that the area of the triangle, and that is 1/2 times base times height. So here in this triangle, the base and the height have to form a right angle. So they're showing us here that the base is 8 and the height is 4. 8 times 4 is 32, and 1/2 of 32 is 16. So we're going to subtract 16 from 50.24 to find the area is approximately 34.24 millimeters squared. Okay, another example. The owner of the pool has 1 square cover to use. Find the area of the space that needs to be covered. The 4 corners of squares. The 4 corners are squares. So the shaded region represents what we're trying to find the area of. And again, I can do this with subtraction because we can take the area of the whole thing. And since it's a square, then we would know that this is 12 by 12, which is 144. So that's the area. That includes the corners. Now we need to take out each one of these corners because they're not part of the pool. So they don't need to be covered. So a 2 by 2 is 4. So we're subtracting 4 groups of 4, which is 16. So again, this one has me doing the area of the whole thing, but then taking out the 4 corners, which have a length and a width of 2, and 2 by 2 is 4. When we subtract 144 minus 16, we're left with 128 feet squared. That's the space that needs to be covered. Carlos found the area of the figure, check his work, and explain his errors. All right, so let's start with the rectangle. He did 2 times 1.5. So if I shade 2 by 1.5, a rectangle has opposite sides congruent, so that would be 2 by 1.5. That would be right there. So I agree. 2 by 1.5 is equal to 3. So this rectangle is right there. Then if this is 2 centimeters, that means this is 2. And to find the area of a triangle, you have to have a perpendicular line segment, a height that forms a right angle with the base. So here's where we can say, all right, well, if this whole thing is 4.4 and this part of the rectangle is 1.5, then what's the rest of the distance to get 4? So 4 minus 1.5 is 2.5. So that means this height would be 2.5. So that's the mistake he made. He used a height of 4 as if the triangle's height was this entire length. But the triangle's height is only a part of that length. When we look at the triangle, we should only be using this part of the 4, not all of the 4 centimeters. because the 4 centimeters represents the distance all the way across the figure, and we're already using 1.5 when we measured the rectangle. So he made that mistake with the triangle height. All right, so that is area of composite figures. If we want to do just one more. See where that one. Here's another one. So again, this is another one of those where you have lots of options. So we've got, I'm going to go ahead and shade distance across. So the ones in pink should match, meaning the whole way across over here, this whole distance across is 10, which means this distance across has to be something plus 2, which is equal to 10. What plus 2 is 10? 8. So we know that is a length of 8. Then we have the distance up and down. Up and down here is 6. Up and down here is, we don't know, but up and down here is 10. So 6 plus this has to equal 10. So that would have a length of 4. Now we can divide it up however we want. I'm going to do one simple little line right here to cut off this part of the shape. And we can see that would be 2 by 4, which is 8. And then this is 8 by 10, which is 88. That's one way you can cut that up. I'm sorry, 8 times 10 is 80. I got ahead of myself. And 8 plus 8, when we add these two pieces together, 8 plus 8 is 88 feet squared. Just for one last example with a composite figure. Thank you.